A very good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1, live and direct from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. Bringing you the news, I'm Abbe.
And I'm Rochelle Pramodara. Let's start off with a look at our headlines for tonight.
Shai Abbe, who investigated the abduction, murder and disappearance of journalist Pragit Eknaligoda, included in High Court evidence list.
මම සාධනීය තත්ත්වයක් දකින්නවා බලාපොරොත්තුවක් ඇති කරගන්න පුළුවන් තත්ත්වයක් දකින්නවා.
Waligama Pradesh Sabha NPP member Taraka Nanayakara's residence targeted in shooting. Will not hesitate to place disrupted local councils under commissioner's control, says Minister of Public Administration, Provincial Councils and Local Government.
විධිමත්ව ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදීව පත්වුණු නියෝජිතයන්ගෙන් මේ ආයතන පවත්වාගෙන යන්න නොහැකි නම් අපට වගකීමක් තියෙනවා ජනතාවට ඒ ආයතන වලින් ලබා දිය යුතු සේවය ලබා දෙන්න.
Will Dayasiri be handed a prominent role in the SJB?
ඕනකනුට ඇවිල්ලා අපිත් එක්ක දේශපාලනය කරන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි දේශපාලනය කරනවා කියන එකයි අර එකයි දෙකක්.
Trump grants Indonesia a tax break, slashes tariffs to 19%. Canadian government launches probe into Public Safety Minister Gary Anandasangari over letters sent supporting citizenship for former LTTE member. Case file.
And now to those stories in detail. In your top story this evening, the Attorney General informed the court that CID Director Shai Abbe has been named as a witness in the ongoing trial regarding the abduction and disappearance of journalist Pragit Eknaligoda. This announcement was made during the hearing before the permanent trial at bar comprising judges Dr. Namal Balale, Mahesh Veeraman and Suchivarni Shankar.
The case filed by the Attorney General against retired Brigadier Shami Kumararatna, the former commanding officer of the Giritale Army Camp, and 9 other military intelligence officers in connection with the abduction and disappearance of journalist Pragit Eknaligoda was recalled today. Deputy Solicitor General Vasantha Pereira led the examination of evidence during the hearing. Testimonies were recorded from Basanta Kumara, a screenwriter and drama director, Shivakumar, a former LTTE member and retired army soldier Sampath Kumara Veeratunga. Following the witness examination, President's Counsel Upul Kumara Peruma, appearing for the aggrieved party, informed the court that he had previously requested the Attorney General to name CID Director Shai Abbe, who had served as the lead investigator in the case since 2015, as a witness. He stated that this request was made on the 29th of November 2022 and that Deputy Solicitor General Dileep Pires, who appeared for the prosecution at the time, had acknowledged that the request would be considered. Kumara Peruma further emphasized that retired Army Sergeant Ran Banda, who had previously been named as a witness in the case, had provided false testimony before the court. He noted that prior to giving this testimony, Ran Banda had filed a complaint with the Nikavaratia police claiming that he was being threatened. The President's Counsel pointed out that the false testimony was given after the complaint was lodged and urged the court to initiate a proper investigation into the matter. Responding to these submissions, Deputy Solicitor General Vasantha Pereira confirmed that Shai Abbe has been named the 109th witness in the case. He also stated that if any witnesses are facing threats, they will have to file complaints with the Victim and Witness Protection Authority.
රාජපක්ෂ බලය නැතිවීමත් එක්ක හතරවන සාක්ෂිකාරයා
With the fall of the Rajapaksa regime, the fourth witness came forward in 2020 and admitted to having been pressured. That complaint has already been submitted to the Victim and Witness Protection Authority. As a result, the first accused in this case is now in remand custody. I see this as a positive development. There is now a climate of hope. Under the current government, there is a belief that those affected can come forward freely. I see this as a step toward ending impunity and achieving justice for Pragit.
ප්‍රගීට යුක්තිෂ්ඨ කරන්න මේ නඩුවට හොඳ තත්ත්වයක් ඇති වෙයි කියන බලාපොරොත්තුව තියෙනවා.
The next hearing for further witness examination is scheduled for Friday at 10:30 a.m.
A gunfire attack was reported early this morning at the residence of Attorney at Law Tharaka Nanayakkara, a National People's Power member of the Waligama Pradesh Sabha located in Malimbada, Waligama. And according to police, 9 bullets fired from a pistol had struck the gate of the house. The incident occurred despite the residents being under police protection at the time.
2 individuals arriving on a motorcycle are reported to have carried out a shooting at around 4:40 a.m. today before fleeing the scene. No injuries were reported as a result of the gunfire. Police stated that 2 officers assigned to protect the residence of Attorney at Law Tharaka Nanayakkara, a National People's Power councillor of the Waligama Pradesh Sabha, had returned fire in the direction of the attackers.
At the time, I was asleep in the upstairs bedroom. When I called the officers on duty, they told me a shot had come from outside, so they responded with fire. They advised me not to come outside until the situation was clear. I stayed low. I have 4 children. 2 were sleeping next to me. My wife and the other 2 woke up and stayed inside until the police confirmed it was safe.
Following confirmation in court that the councillor had received death threats, 2 police officers had been assigned to provide security at his residence. Police investigations into the shooting have commenced, but no suspects have been arrested as of this afternoon. The Waligama Pradesh Sabha is currently facing a governance deadlock as no party has secured a sufficient number of seats to appoint a chairman. During the last council meeting held on the 27th of June, Samagi Janabalawegaya proposed Lasantha Wickramasekara for the chairmanship. However, tensions escalated when the NPP claimed 2 of its councillors had gone missing, leading to a heated situation. Various allegations have since emerged regarding the SJB's chairman nominee. Meanwhile, the next meeting of the Waligama Pradesh Sabha is scheduled for the 27th of July.
Minister of Provincial Councils Chandana Abbe emphasized today that if opposition parties obstruct the continuous functioning of several local government bodies, the government will not hesitate to place those local government bodies under the control of a commissioner following due legal procedures. The minister made these remarks during an exclusive interview with Newsfirst. Operating institutions without fulfilling quorum can be described as exercising individual freedom, but from the perspective of expanding democratic space, we feel that it is not entirely justifiable. The reason is that the people have given power to the government, the national people's power. These institutions must be supported by the NPP, otherwise any other party or independent group should assume power and operate these institutions to serve the public. However, with the current situation, there are obstacles in delivering services to the people. We do not expect this situation to continue. As a government, we will intervene legally and take the necessary actions accordingly.
බාධා මතුවලා තියෙනවා. මේ තත්ත්වයේ දිගට ගෙනියන්න අපි අපේක්ෂා කරන්නේ නැහැ. මීට අදාළ ඉදිරි ක්‍රියාකාරකම් නීති අනුකූලව කරන්න අපි රජයේ හැටියට මැදිහත් වෙනවා.
අමාත්‍යතුමනි මෙතන තියෙන අනිත් ප්‍රශ්නය තමයි මේ රාජ්‍ය නිලධාරීන්ට කරන තර්ජන සහ තවත් දේවල් අපිට වාර්තා වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම මේ තත්ත්වය වළක්වාලීම සඳහා මොකද රාජ්‍ය නිලධාරීන් මේ තත්ත්වය හමුවේ දැඩි අසරණ භාවයකට පත් වෙලා තියෙන බවටයි අපිට ආරංචි. මේ ගැන මොන වගේ අදහසක්ද ඔබ සතුව තියෙන්නේ?
ඒ බඳු තර්ජනය කිරීම නිලධාරීන් බියවැද්දීම් අපි
We absolutely do not approve of such threats or intimidation of officials. As a government, we are aware of this situation. Moreover, we are committed to protecting all officials who act legally and properly. We tell them to carry out their duties correctly and lawfully. The government stands behind them and emphasizes that no harm will be allowed to come to any official at this time.
ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඇති වෙන්න අපි ඉඩ දෙන්නේ නැහැ කියන කාරණය මේ අවස්ථාවේදී අවධාරණය කරන්න ඕනේ.
මේ විදිහට විපක්ෂය සභාව පිටුවන්නට අවස්ථාව නොදී බලය සම්බන්ධව කටයුතු කරනවා නම් ඇයි කොමසාරිස්වරුන් යටතට මේ පිටුවන්නට දෙන්නේ නැති පළාත් සභාවල පළාත් පාලන ආයතනවල බලය පවරන්න බැරි? ඇයි ඒකට ප්‍රමාද?
යම් කාලයක් තියෙනවා.
යම් කාලයක් කියන එකෙන් අදහස් කරන්නේ කොහොමද?
යම් කාලය කියන්නේ දැන් කොමසාරිස්වරු මේ ආයතනවල බලය පිහිටුවීමට ගිහිල්ලා ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ වාර්තාවක් ලබා දෙන්න ඕනේ.
When I say some time, I mean that the commissioners have now moved to assume control of these institutions and are required to submit reports to the governor. Likewise, as the ministry, we are seeking guidance from the legal department because the governors must conduct an inquiry within 3 months regarding this matter. During this inquiry period, the governors have the authority to suspend the members who have left the council. Before the 3 months expire following the governor's inquiry, a special commissioner can definitely be appointed to manage and operate these institutions. This is the minimum time period that must elapse. After this time, if it is not possible to maintain the institutions through democratically elected representatives, we have a responsibility to ensure that the services provided to the public continue uninterrupted. Therefore, as the ministry and government, we will not hesitate to make such decisions in accordance with existing law. The commissioners must submit their reports to the governors. I believe that just yesterday this issue arose in 2 institutions, specifically in Sitawaka and Anamadua. After receiving these reports from the commissioners, the governors have begun investigations. Meanwhile, we are also obtaining the necessary legal guidance from the Attorney General's Department and will act accordingly.
කොමසාරිස්වරුන්ගේ වාර්තා ලැබුණට පස්සේ ආණ්ඩුකාරවරුන්ගේ පැත්තෙන් ඒ විමර්ශන ආරම්භ කරાવી. ඒ අතරතුර අපිත් නීතිපති දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවෙන් අවශ්‍ය කරන මඟ පෙන්වීම් ලබා ගන්නවා. ඒ අනුව කටයුතු කරනවා.
MP Hector Abuhami states that while MP Dasikra may be able to engage in politics with the Samagi Janabalawegya, he will not be eligible for a leadership or deputy leadership position within the party. He made this statement in response to reports suggesting that there are plans to appoint MP Dasikra to a senior position within the SJP.
MP Dasikra stated at a media briefing that opposition leader Sajjit Premadasa had spoken to him on multiple occasions.
නෑ සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මහත්මයා මට 3-4 පාතාවක් කතා කරා පක්ෂයත් එක්ක එකතු වෙමු කියලා. නමුත් මම එහෙම තීන්දුවක් තාම අරන් නෑ.
ඒ කියන්නේ එකතු වෙමු කියන එකේ අදහස උපනායකකම වගේ ගන්න එකක් එහෙම එකක් නෑ.
මට එහෙම කිසි බලාපොරොත්තුවක් නෑ.
දුන්නොත් ගන්නවද?
මම මේ දුන්නොත් ගන්න ඉතින් කතා කරන්න එපා ඉස්සෙල්ලා.
At a separate SJB media briefing, MP Hector Abuhami responded to questions regarding Dasikra.
ඔබතුමාගේ ආසාව නම් ඒක බෝඩ් එකක් දාගන්න ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. හැබැයි අපි දන්නවා අපේ නායකයාගේ. අපේ අනිත් අයගේ ඕනේ ඔක්කොදලා පුව අපේ නායකයාගේ. අපේ නායකයා ගැන අපි දන්නවා. නෑ ඔබ කියන උපනායකත්වයේ පළැස්සි කියන්නේ. එයාලා ඇස්සි වෙන්න පුළුවන් හැමතැනම නායකත්වයට.
He may be ready for leadership anywhere, but is it because we're dark-skinned? Is it because Abuhami is dark-skinned? We are the ones who built this party. Can't we take the deputy leadership? Of course we can. Remember that. So don't assume that anyone can just walk in and take a place here. That's not how it works. They can join us in politics, but joining politics and leading are 2 different things.
Meanwhile, SLPP national organizer Namal Rajapaksa was asked whether the Sri Lanka Podujana Perumuna would recognise Dasikra's leadership if he were appointed opposition leader.
No, MP Dasikra is a very capable politician. I believe he is currently aligned with the SJB and represents the Sri Lanka Freedom Party as well. The opposition leader's political party is what matters. He needs to make a decision. If he doesn't, that's the issue. If he does, that's fine. Anyone can work with him.
We work with
the people of this country, whether it's the opposition leader, prime minister or president. We work with whoever is committed to solving the people's problems. That's not an issue for us.
UNP Deputy Chairman and former Minister Naveen Dissanayake commented on the current leadership of the SJB, suggesting that a change may be necessary.
I've always said this. There are a number of MPs on the SJB side. They need to have discussions about the shortcomings of their party and its leadership. I believe leadership changes should be timely, especially now Sajjit Premadasa has faced defeat in 2 presidential elections and 2 parliamentary elections. He must take some responsibility for that. Opposition leader Sajjit Premadasa, who served as the Minister of Housing during the 2015 to 2019 period, responded to the allegations currently being raised regarding the expenses of certain National Housing Authority projects undertaken during those years. Meanwhile, during the Satana program yesterday, a detailed clarification was also made by the government side regarding these allegations. During our time in office, the only major event was the rapid development of housing along with several accelerated programs in the religious and cultural sectors which are all carried out lawfully. There are groups in the country who view our work as a mistake, but that is not a concern for us. Every action we took was aimed at the progress of the country and the well-being of its people. We also focused on strengthening the country's religious institutions.
What is the investigation regarding the expenses of the Housing Development Authority? This was clarified by Minister Wasantha Samarasinghe during the program.
Sajjit Premadasa මාත්තා නිවාස ඇමති වෙලා ඉන්න වෙලාවේ
When Sajjit Premadasa was the Minister of Housing, he showed a plot of land and granted a loan. While developing the village, boards were placed along the road to announce its opening. An investigation is currently underway regarding the expenses related to this. These matters are now coming to light, especially in connection with the election campaign. I believe Premadasa was trying to distance himself from Ranil Wickremesinghe in order to run for the presidency. Along with that, campaign expenses have emerged. More money was spent on promotion than on building houses. Although people were given loans to build houses, the money was actually spent on promotion. The election campaign was launched using government funds.
Here's the response from Attorney at Law Rajitha Lakmal, Legal Secretary of the Samak Jana Balawega, regarding these allegations.
This issue has been investigated previously and decisions have already been made. However, to date, no charges or cases have been filed against Sajjit Premadasa. While serving as minister, he did not engage in any corruption. Furthermore, the funds were not used for presidential campaign activities as claimed.
Minister Wasantha Samarasinghe revealed that payments for the expenses incurred at the time are now being processed.
As
mentioned, some investigations were conducted while others were halted. These are not minor matters. Now requests are being made to the cabinet to settle some of these bills. When these bills are presented to the cabinet, it becomes clear that they are related to promotional activities. The cost is around 10 million rupees per week, not a small amount. The relevant ministry has incurred these expenses and such spending cannot be done casually. If it involves a large sum, a proper process must be followed, such as calling for tenders. Who called for tenders?
Tender
The housing project was approved to build 2,562 houses. At that time, Sajjit Premadasa was the housing minister. Only 367 houses were built. Loans were given to 25,453 beneficiaries and aid was provided to 28,633 individuals. The amount of defaulted loans is 130,567, totaling 5.66 billion rupees. A total of 105,249 cement blocks were distributed, costing 900 million rupees. These figures are not ours. They come from the management division of the Housing Authority. Additionally, an investigation was conducted into the misuse of over 11 billion rupees from the Cultural Fund between 2015 and 2019. That investigation was initiated after Gotabaya Rajapaksa came to power in 2019. This is not about clearing Sajjit Premadasa's name. It's about addressing the allegations. These are not politically motivated accusations from any party. They are based on audit reports and findings from the relevant ministries and authorities.
News First with the people.
US President Donald Trump said that the US would impose a 19% tariff on goods from Indonesia under a new agreement with the Southeast Asian country, and more deals were coming, while offering fresh details on planned duties on pharmaceuticals. Trump announced the pact with Indonesia as he continued to press for what he views as better terms with trading partners and ways to shrink a huge US trade deficit.
US President Donald Trump said he has settled on another tariff deal, this time with Indonesia. Trump said he had agreed to lower tariffs he had threatened on goods entering the US from Indonesia to 19%. The pact is the latest to emerge after the White House unveiled a barrage of tariffs this spring, kicking off a flurry of trade talks over the duties.
Responding to a question posed by a journalist outside the White House, US President Donald Trump said he had reduced the tariff rate after a phone call with the President of Indonesia, adding that as part of the deal, Indonesia had agreed to lower its trade tariffs for products from the United States, which America has complained were high for many agricultural products as well as certain manufactured goods.
So we made a deal with Indonesia. I spoke to their really great president, very popular, very strong, smart. And we made the deal. We have full access to Indonesia, everything. As you know, Indonesia is very strong on copper, but we have full access to everything. We will pay no tariffs. So they are giving us access into Indonesia, which we never had. That's probably the biggest part of the deal. And the other part is they are going to pay 19%, and we are going to pay nothing. I think it's a good deal for both parties. But we will have full access into Indonesia. And we have a couple of those deals that are going to be announced. India basically is working along that same line. We're going to have access into India. And you have to understand, we had no access into any of these countries. Our people couldn't go in. And now we're getting access because of what we're doing with the tariffs. So they're paying 19%, and we are not paying anything. And they're going to give us full access into Indonesia. Now, Indonesia has some great product, and they also have some very valuable earths and various other materials. One of the things, as you know, they're known for is very high quality copper, which we'll be using.
After suspending his most aggressive tariff plans from earlier this year, Trump this month renewed his threats, sending warning letters to dozens of countries that he intended to start charging high tariffs from the 1st of August. His targets included all of America's biggest trade partners, including the European Union, Canada, Mexico, Japan and South Korea. Indonesia also received a letter from Trump last week outlining plans for a 32% tariff on its goods, reportedly bewildering officials who had thought an agreement was close. Trump later announced that the country has already agreed to purchase $15 billion worth in US energy, $4.5 billion in American agricultural products, and 50 Boeing jets. Indonesia ranks as one of America's top 25 trade partners, sending about $28 billion to the US last year, including clothing, footwear and palm oil.
Indonesia's response.
Indonesia welcomed the trade deal with the United States after an extraordinary struggle in negotiations, which resulted in a reduction of proposed US tariff rates on the Southeast Asian countries' exports to 19%. From 32%. Speaking to reporters, Hassan Nasbi, the Indonesian president's spokesperson, said that it was an extraordinary struggle by the Indonesian negotiating team led by the coordinating minister for economic affairs.
Impact on the Asian stock market.
Indonesia's stock index rose as much as 0.7% today after the deal, which some analysts said would provide a positive catalyst for economic activities. Asia-Pacific markets too traded mixed after US President Donald Trump's trade deal with Indonesia.
Indonesia, the world's fourth largest country by population and a member of G20, ran a goods trade surplus of $17.9 billion with the United States in 2024, according to the US Trade Representative.
The all-share price index of the Colombo Stock Exchange has gone down compared to yesterday by 61.31 points. The all-share price index of the Colombo Stock Exchange dropped by 61.31 points today compared to yesterday, closing at 18,884.40. Trading at the CSE was temporarily halted around 10 a.m. due to a system failure reported by several broker firms. Operations resumed approximately 40 minutes later, with trading returning to normal by 10:40 a.m. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Colombo Stock Exchange commented on the record-breaking surge in the ASPI witnessed in recent days, highlighting the market's strong momentum despite today's dip.
You would have witnessed the market has been moving up, I would say, for about 15 to 25% over a period of 2 to 3 months. There are a few reasons for that. One thing is the central bank is maintaining the interest rates and it has come down to 7 to 8%. So investors have opted to go with the stock market mainly because they should be able to get a better return out of it. And that's number one. Number two is when you see like most of the companies are doing better than what they have done last year, and quarter by quarter also results are going to be better. That's what I feel. That's another one. Third one is like, you know, I would say this is completely tax free, right? You don't have to pay anything out of your profits for the time being. So anyway, that's another one. And on top of that, even the government expenditure has drastically come down, and the economy is on right track. And you know that we got the IMF fifth tranche also, and that also shows confidence in how the system is going, like, you know, the government is performing. And I would say the economy is at a very stable position, and we are in the process of, like, you know, just taking it up. Foreigners and locals are looking at the local market in a positive angle, mainly because of the economy, plus as well as the returns that they can get from the market. So I feel, you know, with all these things, when you just put all these things together, the market should, like, you know, maintain this stability.
And you're absolutely right. If we can find an institution with investigative and prosecutorial powers to look into allegations of bribery and corruption and see about.
Because end of the day, coming out is on this national problem, as much as the government, even the public, and as well as the, in general, the whole public also should be supportive. So it should be a two-way dialogue where number one, of course, the government will have to develop plans.
Like I mentioned, Island of Ingenuity Blondie, IOI, that needs to be, that need to be taken globally out there, so that MNCs, blue chip, the Fortune 500 companies will get to know about our talent in the country. So that's one way how we can reach that target.
Rate for us for 44%, and now based on the global developments, he's pulling that out again and say, okay, there'll be additional 10% on BRICS, and again there'll be some global event takes place, and he will say, okay, if he's anti-American, there'll be another 5% on top of it be applicable. So it seems it's going to be, while we all expect, okay,
Welcome back to the news. Sri Lanka's Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya has called for bold cooperative action to address Asia-Pacific's energy and climate challenges, emphasizing that solar energy is no longer an alternative, it is an imperative. She was speaking at the 7th meeting of the International Solar Alliance Regional Committee for Asia and the Pacific region, which got underway in Colombo.
International Solar Alliance Regional Committee for Asia and the Pacific region held its 7th regional meeting in Colombo. Dr. Amarasuriya underscored that scaling solar energy solutions requires more than ambition. It demands affordable financing, appropriate technologies, strong institutions and robust cooperation.
Asia and the Pacific stand at a critical juncture. Home to nearly 60% of the global population and many of the world's most dynamic economies, our region must shoulder the dual responsibility of accelerating economic growth while confronting climate vulnerabilities. From coastal megacities and small island states to remote inland communities striving for basic energy access, our energy strategies must be both resilient and equitable. In this context, solar energy is not merely an alternative, it is an imperative. Yet, scaling solar solutions requires more than ambition. It demands affordable financing, appropriate technologies, strong institutions, and above all, robust cooperation. Sri Lanka has embraced this challenge with resolve. Despite recent economic and political pressures, we have reaffirmed our commitment to clear energy and inclusive growth. We are charting a path to recovery that is environmentally sustainable and economically and socially just. Our national policy aims to generate 70% of electricity from renewable energy sources by 2030 and to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050. Solar power is at the heart of this transition that we are seeking. Through the Surya Bala Sangramaya, Battle for Solar Energy program, we are expanding rooftop solar installations across households, schools and public institutions.
Santosh Jha, High Commissioner of India to Sri Lanka, touched on India's rapid progress in renewable energy, particularly in solar power.
India has achieved a landmark in its energy transition journey by reaching 50% of its installed electricity capacity from non-fossil fuel sources, 5 years ahead of the target set under the nationally determined contribution to the Paris Agreement. Our grid stands at 484.8 gigawatt, out of which 242.8 gigawatt is from non-fossil fuel sources. Solar has been at the heart of this ambition. From 2.8 gigawatt in 2014, our current solar capacity stands at over 116 gigawatt, a growth of 41 times in 11 years. A number of policies, obviously, by the Government of India have paved the way.
The International Solar Alliance, or the ISA, a global intergovernmental organization in collaboration with the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, a member of the ISA and Vice President of the Asia and the Pacific region, is organizing the 7th Regional Committee meeting for Asia and the Pacific from the 15th to the 17th of July 2025 in Colombo, Sri Lanka.
Canadian Public Safety Minister Gary Anandasangaree is facing scrutiny after it was revealed he wrote letters supporting the immigration application of a man Canadian authorities had identified as a member of the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, a group listed as a terrorist organization in Canada.
The letters by current Canadian Public Safety Minister Gary Anandasangaree, dated 2016 and 2023, were written on official House of Commons letterhead and addressed to the Canada Border Services Agency, or CBSA, on behalf of Senthuran Selvakumaran, a Sri Lankan national seeking permanent residence in Canada. Despite repeated rejections by immigration officials citing Selvakumaran's protracted involvement with the LTTE, Anandasangaree urged reconsideration, citing humanitarian grounds and family separation. Selvakumaran's immigration bid has been ongoing since 2005, with multiple appeals dismissed by Canadian courts. The CBSA's detailed report noted his involvement in distributing LTTE propaganda between 1992 and 1998 and highlighted the group's history of violence, including the assassination of Indian Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi and extensive fundraising through diaspora networks. Following his appointment to cabinet in July 2023, Anandasangaree stated he had ceased writing immigration-related letters and instructed his staff to do the same. He has since recused himself from decisions involving the LTTE and its Canadian affiliate, the World Tamil Movement, citing concerns over perceived bias. The case has raised questions about the balance between constituent advocacy and national security, especially given Anandasangaree's current role overseeing Canada's border and public safety policies. Critics argue that his past support for Selvakumaran could place officials in a difficult position, while supporters note that MPs routinely assist constituents facing immigration challenges. In his new portfolio, Anandasangaree has been given the task of helping fend off a White House trade war by bringing in legislation to toughen Canada's borders, which President Donald Trump has complained are a threat to the United States. But documents on Selvakumaran's case suggest that Anandasangaree's support for the would-be immigrant may have put Canadian public safety officials in a potentially awkward position, standing up for border security against the wishes of the MP, who is now their minister. The recommendation to deny Selvakumaran's application for permanent residence was signed on the 12th of October 2023 by Erin O'Gorman, the president of the CBSA, who now reports to Anandasangaree. On the 29th of January 2024, Dominic LeBlanc, who was the Minister of Public Safety at the time, signed off on the CBSA's recommendation that Selvakumaran would be denied ministerial ministerial relief. Selvakumaran appealed his refusal to the federal court, but on the 9th of July, Justice Glenys McVeigh ruled that he had failed to show the CBSA decision rejecting his application for ministerial relief was unreasonable. The ruling said the CBSA had considered positive factors such as the letters of support attesting to his good character, but had reasonably focused on national security and public safety. The federal court recently rejected Selvakumaran's latest appeal, reaffirming the CBSA's decision based on national security concerns.
One of the most influential reggae artists of our time, Alpha Blondie, arrived in Colombo this morning.
Reggae legend Alpha Blondie, one of the most influential reggae artists of our time, arrived in Colombo this morning for Alpha Blondie Live in Sri Lanka, marking a truly historic moment for the nation. Blondie has captivated audiences worldwide with iconic anthems like Sebe Allaye, Jerusalem and Cocody Rock.
From the Bible to the Quran, Revelation in Jerusalem, Shalom.
This evening, a highly anticipated media conference was held with a global reggae icon in Colombo.
First of all, I'd love to say thank you. Thank you very, very much to the organizers and the promoters. And thank you for the people who are receiving us here in Colombo. We were overwhelmed. We were spoiled by the quality of the reception. And to be sincere, this is my very first time to be received in such a beautiful, warm atmosphere. Thank you very much for your kindness. Thank you for the honor. And me and my band, we're going to have to work hard to satisfy the people of Colombo and Sri Lanka.
We have a huge fan base in Sri Lanka as pioneers in the radio industry. ES 101, we have had many concerts across the island, and this is something big for us, and we are so excited to be a part of this.
So finally we have Alpha here in Colombo after so many months of work. So show is happening on 19th. We are really excited, and Alpha is really excited about this event, and he's really excited to be here in Sri Lanka especially. Show is setting up on Air Force grounds, and it's happening on 19th, and this is going to be a completely different experience for all of you guys as a production.
Buddhi Vikramanayaka, COO MBC Networks, presented a special memento to the legendary reggae artist Alpha Blondie.
I want to hear big loud applause.
Alpha Blondie, the legendary voice of African reggae, is set to perform for the first time in Sri Lanka on the 19th of July at the Air Force grounds in Colombo with his band, The Solar System, promising fans an unforgettable night of music, culture and unity. Yes 101 is the media partner of the event.
The Paduka campus of SLTC Research University transformed into a high-voltage arena of innovation and adrenaline as LethalBots 2025 kicked off in spectacular fashion. The robotic showdown echoed the legacy of BattleBots, the world-famous robot combat spectacle.
The air at the Paduka premises of the SLTC Research University crackled with energy as LethalBots 2025 rode to life, a celebration of engineering brilliance, youthful ambition and the raw thrill of robotic combat. More than just a competition, it was a collision of dreams and steel, echoing the global legacy of BattleBots, the world-renowned robot fighting championship. From the first clash to the final countdown, the event showcased bots built with heart and hustle, designed by young innovators who turned bold ideas into battle-ready machines. The competition featured cutting-edge designs, AI-driven strategies, and fierce rivalries. But beyond the battles, it was a tribute to the spirit of innovation, a place where students, engineers, and tech enthusiasts came together to push the boundaries of possibility.
Dominator Samakin, Taurus Mega, Talmagami Pravisha, team dominated this in Ginichala Tuli.
The 26th convocation of the Bandaranaike International Diplomatic Training Institute was held yesterday in Colombo.
The 26th convocation ceremony of the Bandaranaike International Diplomatic Training Institute was held in Colombo, marking a significant milestone in the nation's diplomatic education and training efforts. The event was graced by Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism, Vijita Herath, as the chief guest. Joining the chief guest were the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Employment, Arun Hemachandra, and Secretary to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Aruni Ranaraja. The graduating cohort were presented awards and certificates recognizing their successful completion of various diplomatic training programs. The convocation celebrated the achievements of young diplomats, foreign service officers and professionals who underwent training in international relations, diplomacy and global affairs. The Bandaranaike International Diplomatic Training Institute, or the BIDTI, was established in September 1995 under the guidance of then Prime Minister Sirimavo Bandaranaike for the purpose of offering advanced training courses in diplomacy and international relations.
The third and final T20 between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh is underway at the R. Premadasa International Cricket Stadium. Sri Lanka captain Charita Salanka won the toss and elected to bat first. Batting first, Sri Lanka posted a total of 132 runs for a loss of 7 wickets at the end of their allotted 20 overs. A short while ago, in reply, Bangladesh were on 93 runs for a loss of 2 wickets at the end of 11 overs.
That's when you come out. T20 series. Oh, brilliant work in the deep. Did really well to get a hand to it. Abbe, fielder in the deep, takes it. Shoriful gets a wicket and it's a Ridoy is the catcher.
And that's a wrap of your news for tonight.
Thank you for watching.
Good night.